Okay, so what I wanted to do is to kind of go over how I created a bottle. I had a student that designed some bottles here, and I picked this kind of a pyramid shaped one, and so the student was a little reticent on how to build it. So I'm sure there are lots of ways to build it, but I'll show you how I built it. So this is the piece that I ended up with. I think it's probably a little, not quite as tall and skinny as his, but it's the procedure that I'm going to show, and then we could always scale this to be correct. So I'm going to show you how I built this. So we're going to go back in time to the beginning. Okay, the beginning. Okay, so the first thing I did was draw a sketch. So I created a sketch. As a matter of fact, let's just go in here. We'll go edit this sketch so you can see it. And this is the sketch that I drew. Now, initially what I did was I drew this edge as in a triangle. So the first thing I did was just come in here and then just determine, okay, I wanted the base to be a certain width out. And I just drew something like that. Okay, that's the first thing I did. Now, I'm going to I'm going to mirror this, so whatever I do on one side, I can mirror the other side. So I come in here and draw a center line, and then I'm going to pick the center line, and then the center line, as a matter of fact, let me go up here and select my priority. Okay, so I should be... Okay. All right, so I'm going to click on my palette here, make this a center line so it's not actually a construction line. And then at a certain point, when I get finished with the side, I'm going to mirror it over to this side. So you're just going to be going mirror, and then it's going to ask you to, pick the things you want to mirror, like so. And then you pick your mirror line, and then it'll put them over there. Okay, and that's what I did. Okay, then the other thing I did was to get an arc in here, because what I needed to do, because he's got this kind of a design like this. Okay, so if you actually look at, okay, so this was the shape, and so he's got these little these are going to be little metal corners on these, and so I needed to create these, and they need to be symmetrical. Okay, so once I've determined that this is going to be the angle, then I'm just going to create an arch in here. So I'm going to use a center point arc. So I can click right here, and then I can determine, oh, I want the arc to be there. Okay, so now the next thing I need to do is find a center point on this. So I'm going to go create a point. When you put your mouse on it, when it gets to the center point, a little triangle will pop up. And then you click on that, and that'll put me a point there. Now that's going to allow me to create a line through here, and later I'm going to create one side, and then this will be the mirror to the other side. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is to create another point, and I'm going to put a point on here, and then I'm going to create a curve from here, put a point out in the center, and then here, click OK. And now I can grab this point, and I can make whatever kind of arc that I want. Something like that is pretty good. So now I need this same arc over here, so that's pretty easy to do. All we have to do is mirror that. So we pick the arc, and then we pick our center line, and then it's going to measure it and put it over there. Okay, so now I've got and then that's going to be basically that shape. Okay, and that's what I did over here. That's how I got that. Okay, so at this point I don't need this anymore. Let's get rid of that. All right, so then what I did was the next stage that I did, and we go here, is I just did a push-pull on this, okay? Now, to do the push-pull, I needed it to be symmetrical, okay? So we'll just hide our body real quick. So I just picked all of this, and I did a press-pull, and you're pulling it, but right here you can say symmetrical. That way, when I pull it, I can go one way or the other, okay? And that's basically what I did. Okay, so that got me there. All right, so then the next thing I did was I rotated it. That's not showing up. I don't know what that's showing. So I rotated this. So what I did is I came in here, did a move copy, picked this, clicked on rotate, and you got to select an axis. So I turned on my origin and I selected that axis, and then I was able to rotate this 90 degrees. Okay. Okay, so once I did that, then that allowed me to use a split body on this. So I could come in and say, okay, split this and use these edges as the cutting tools, and then that'll cut my pyramid shape out of there, like so. Okay, so from there, then that gave me that. Then I came in, and what I needed to do was I needed to have this sketch on a different sketch because this was breaking it into different pieces, and so I couldn't use it as a cutting tool. So I just made a new sketch, and all I did was just trace that. I just traced that and recreated it, okay, so that it was on its own plane, and then it's a solid piece. So that's what I did, and then that allowed me to then come in here and do a split body. So I could do a split body in here, pick this, and then pick that tool, and it will cut it. Okay. So I did that, and that cut it all the way through. Then what I did was I did an offset face. So I went to offset face, and then picked this and pulled it out. Okay, and I did the same on the opposite side. So I took all of this and offset it out. This is going to give me this little lip I need for a metal piece. Okay, then I did a split body. So all I did at that point, I said, okay, let's split this body with this, and then that's going to slice it straight down, and I had to do that 3 times because I sliced it here and I sliced it there. So I sliced it 3 times, and then that gave me these cut off from the original piece. And then I combined, once I did that, so I cut these off, then I combined this back together. So I just did a combine, and I combined these back together as one thing. That's the next thing I did. And so okay. So then as a matter of fact, let's get that. So then I copied these to the opposite sides, and what I took them both, and then I did a copy with an array. Okay, so that way then they rotated back around and they met perfectly. Okay, so then I was trying to get this edge. That's the reason I did two of them, copied them around, then it gave me a junction here. Okay, then I combined these two together, and then I did a let's see what I did here. What I did was there was a little lip in here. So what I did was I created a new sketch. So I said create a sketch, and I clicked this. So that's going to be the plane that I draw on, and then I just drew a line from one corner to the other. And that gave me this, which then I could do a split body and project and cut it with this, and then I can cut off that little lip, which is that little piece right there. So I cut that off. Okay, what did I do then? Okay, so that gave me that little corner. Then what I did was an offset face. So I did an offset face to this and pulled it up till it was a point. Now you have to be careful with this because it'll over invert on itself. So I did it, and I got it where it was just, maybe I can pull it in here. Edit. So I ended up pulling it where there was, if it got really close, there was a little bit of point, but I'd rather have that than it overlapping and a little extra piece out there. So it's not perfect, but it was good enough, because then I'm going to come back in and fillet this later, and it'll get rid of all that. So that kind of shored up that corner. Okay, what do I do next? Okay, then once I had that, then I did an array with this. So we'll go to here. So all I did at that point was an array with this, which really I didn't need to do it because I wasn't finished with this, but I did it anyway just to kind of see. So I just did a pattern, a circular pattern. So you pick this, and then we could pick our axis, which was here, and then I said 4, and that will give me one on each corner. Now eventually I decided that I really didn't need that because I wasn't finished with this, because I needed to put, you know, beveled edges and stuff in this. So I eventually ended up deleting those, but that's actually what I did just to make sure it was going to work the way I wanted it. Okay, then I wanted to come up here and cut the top off to get the top. So I drew another, just a straight line, and then I used a split body to just, you know, so I take this, use this as the cutting tool, and then cut the top off. And that's how I got that cut off. And then I did, once I had that, then I used the offset faces, and I just picked all the faces and pulled them all out to get it so that it came out. And that's how I got it bigger. Okay, then I came in and I started filleting these edges. So I came in and put a fillet here, and I wasted time because I did it all the way around these, which was really a waste of time, because what I ended up doing is deleting all of those and just making one that was completely right. So and then I rayed it back around. So I got the fillets here, and then I also went around and did little fillets on all of these edges, so there'll be a nice rounded edge catch highlights. Okay, what was the next thing I did? Okay, I scaled it is what I did here. I scaled it down a little bit, and really, you know, I'm thinking later I probably shouldn't have done that because it really needed to be a little bit taller and skinnier. But anyway, I'm just proving the point here of how to build this. Okay, so the next thing I wanted this, I didn't want it to go straight in. I wanted it to actually be chamfered a little bit, so a little bit of an angle. So I came in and chamfered that to give me a little bit broader of a lip there. And then came in and I did a fillet all the way around that so it doesn't have the sharp edges. So it's fillet here on all these edges and a fillet on this bottom edge too. I did them all at the same time with the same length of fillet. Okay, then what I did was I hid the body, and then I came in and I put a hole in here. So I used the hole feature, came in and put a hole, and then adjusted it, and this is where the threads will eventually be put in. So, and I did a little offset there. So I never did go back and put the threads in for this demonstration, but I would just go back and put the threads in, and I'd fillet some of this. Okay, from there, what do I do next? Oh, so at this point what I did was I picked all of these edges and I did a fillet on those to soften those up, because this is going to be glass, so it wouldn't be razor sharp. Okay, let's see. The next thing I did was an extrude. I wanted the bottom to come down a little bit. Okay, I didn't want it to sit right there. I wanted it to come down just a little bit, and then I put a fillet on that to rounded that so the glass will come all the way down, and then this metal will be on top of it. Then I came in and I placed, where did it go? Oh, there it is. He had a little rivet. As a matter of fact, we need to hide that. He had a little rivet in the original concept art. Okay. So I came in and put that in there. And then I moved one to put one over here, so I just made a copy of it and put it over here, so you had two of those. And then I just came in and I did an array with them, and here again I realized I really didn't need the array, because what I really needed to do was to take the time and really cut this in, which is what I did here. So what I did at this is came in and I wanted to cut a little hole in that. Okay, so I cut a little hole in there, and then I came and I did one over here too, and then I did a little chamfer in there because I wanted what did I do with the other ball? I wanted it to set in there where it would have, you know, like a hole in there that would set into. And then I filleted those so they weren't sharp. Catch a nice highlight on those. And Okay, so what do I do here? Oh, I split those spheres so that they didn't stick into the glass, which you really won't notice here, but you'll notice it later when we have the glass in there. And let's see, I did a combine here. What did I do? Oh yeah. So I just split these so that there was the back was cut off. Not really sure that if I really needed to do that. Then eventually, what was I doing here? Same thing. I was using those cuts. And then eventually what I did was I came in here and deleted all this excess stuff because I realized that once I got this done, I could just array this all the way down. So I came in here and deleted all that excess stuff that I had built, and then I just did an array here. So I took this, and that's the center point, and did 4 of them, and then that copied my fillets and everything all the way around there, and then that's pretty much it. And that's how I got there. So there may be other, I'm sure there are other ways, and if I approached it again, I might approach it a different way, but that's how I approached it. And so that's how I approached building that shape. I still think it's, it's a little short and fat, but the procedure is correct. Then we want to pick our point. Let's pick like this point to scale it from. And then I could come up here and scale this up. Now, I would never really do this. I would have to come back and redo parts of this because I want those to be round. So this is really not the way to do it. And I might be able even to go back, and I don't know if the answer to this. Matter of fact, let's just see if we can go back in time to this, and we'll see if this will work. If can I scale this? I don't think I can do a non-proportional scale in here. So I can't do that. So I wonder if I can move this point up. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, I can see that it breaks. Yeah, I just need to make sure, that I got those proportions right before we did it. But anyway, so that's how it's done. All right, hopefully that helped you. He's got